Thank you. That was a good song. Appreciate you praying there, too. Can't do too much of that, can we? Appreciate you, Brother Tom. Amen. All right, let me encourage the children to be dismissed now. We're going to handle adult stuff in here. So, hope you're ready for it. No. Have a great time. Crawford family grabbed a month. If you have been thinking about that, helping with Children's Church, man, they're having a good time, and that, I think, is growing as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we're March, it might be open, or April, so check it out, and go from there. Amos chapter 3, Amos, not famous Amos, but Amos in the Old Testament. We're going to have the scripture up there on the screen. But we had a good time in our growth group class, didn't we, today? It just kind of dovetails right into what we've been talking about. We've been talking about thriving as a family. Thriving, okay? Thriving. Not just making it. And God wants us to do that in our family relationships. And it has everything to do with communication and conflicts, how we handle those things. How many of you think better is possible? Some of you are like, I don't know, man. After all these years, it's like, better is possible. Okay? Trust me. Remember what Jesus said, with man, it's not possible. Again, Brother Jim, man, why is always man in the Bible? Man, it goes man and woman together. But with God, all things are possible. Okay? Just remember that. So how have your family relationships been going anyways? Hopefully, better. You're thriving more than you were last week, okay? That's what these sermons and lessons are all about. And because you probably had some intense fellowship this week. I'm just guessing, okay? I'm talking about AKA disagreements or throwdowns, if you will. You might have had butted heads, whatever you want to call it. Just picture the rams, two rams colliding. Sometimes that happens, okay, with mom and dad or with parent-child. It does happen. Why is that? Because your little rams are kind of like the big ram a lot of times. And sometimes likes repel. Just remember that. But they happen. And as I said this morning, many times when we're not expecting it, right? You don't get up and say, man, I bet you right about 10 o'clock, boy. Okay, here we go. It's just like a grenade goes off for no apparent reason, and it happens, and you're going at it. But, what is our ultimate goal? As I said last week, our WIG, wildly important goal, is to really today to apply these principles that we are hearing and learning from God's Word and just from practical insight so that we can thrive as a couple and as a family. Who wants to do that? I know I do. Let's do it together. Amos chapter 3, verse 3, God speaking to the children of Israel. By the way, there's nothing more important to God than having a close relationship with His people. Now, back in that day in the Old Testament, the dispensation, what is that? It's just a time period in which way God will interact with man. It was different than here, but because why? Because you and I can be a child of God through faith in Jesus Christ, okay? It's not just Jews, it's everybody. But He is having some intense fellowship right now with His people. He's not happy with them, and He's challenging them. And He basically says this in verse 3, can two walk together except they be agreed? I love that verse. It has such powerful application. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Now, although God is speaking to Israel here, these principles can be applied to family relationships. Just looking at that verse, God's desire for them was that they walk together in harmony. That's what He wanted. He wanted them to go in the same direction together. But problem was, God was going this way and His people were going that way. How many of you know that's a problem? If you have that in your relationships at home, mom's going this way, dad's going this way, children are going that way, you got a big problem. Okay? And, this is what He's trying to say. So, can two walk together unless they be agreed? That is, they're together. They're going in the same direction in harmony in their relationship and communication. The answer would be a hard what? No. No. It is not possible. At least things aren't going to go well. There's definitely going to be more conflicts than ever. No couple, no family can walk together, can be in unity as God would like it to be. That is, go forward unless they are agreed unless they communicate well and often together. There's no hope of thriving. There's absolutely no way around it. Now think about this. You have a financial problem. Of course, that never happens in marriages, right? Disagreements. You know, I believe with all my heart, and it's been said, financial challenges will make or break a home. I believe that financial subject, period, is 50 to 60 to 70% the reason why families have problems. If we can nip that in the bud, you're talking better as possible. But picture you have a financial challenge. You say, what's that? You say expenses are coming due, but you don't have the income to cover it because someone didn't do what they were supposed to do, and they knew what to do. How are you going to be in agreement and walk towards the goal in that situation if you're not willing to talk about it? That makes it even worse. There's already a problem. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know there's a huge problem. It's on paper, it's on the card, it's on your app. Everybody knows that there's a problem. But if you don't decide to work at it together, how in the world do you think you're going to thrive? Got to be willing to communicate and handle conflicts the best way we can so we can thrive. Now, last week we began to travel the pathway to better communication in conflicts. We began to set some communication goals. Goals are achievable desires, specific ways that we're going to work together. Did you catch that? We're going to be in agreement. So we have better communication in family relations because, again, it takes two to tango, to make things go sour, and it takes two to what? Make things go right. If you ever heard that lyric before. You can't have one person trying their best to make things work and the other person dragging their feet or not willing or being stubborn. By the way, if that's you, you're wrong. You got to make things right. So we began to set some communication goals. We hopefully have chosen our big wigs, okay? What's that? Remember I said they're wildly important goals by doing what? A start and stop exercise. This is a wonderful thing. What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? It sounds simple, but if you've never done it, it can be a game changer. A game changer. We talked about communication that we need to stop last week. We talked about communication we need to start, okay? Building each other up, speaking with grace. Now, what are some specific steps to see those big goals happen? It's nice that we got the big goals on paper. How are we going to see them come to fruition? We got to do some things. We got to take some steps towards the goal, actionable steps, or else there's nothing but a nice phrase on a piece of paper. Oh, shouldn't we speak grace to one another? Okay, how are we going to do that? It's a couple ways I want to talk to you about this morning. Notice number one, if you're taking notes, let's dive in. Here we go. Get your umbrella. No, I'm just kidding. Hasn't rained in weeks. It's going to rain now. Listen, I'm proud of you for being here. As somebody said, one drop of rain kept 10 Baptists out of church. I don't believe that's true in our church, though, okay? This is 2025. We're thriving. All right, number one, develop listening ears. Develop listening ears. It's definitely a learned discipline. You've heard the adage before. Why did God create you with 2 ears and 1 mouth? Because He has a sense of humor. Yeah, I'm sure. So we can talk, so we can listen twice as much as we talk. Do you do that? Who would say to me, hey, I need to be a better listener? My wife says that for sure, but she's not right all the time. She's not here. No, I'm kidding. Let me tell you something. No, I'm kidding. Me, I need to be a better listener. Okay, if we were honest, all hands would go up. Okay? Wow, it's coming down. Now, it could be that you got to just not talk as much and listen, or you just need to pay attention more and listen. Because some people aren't talking at all and they're not listening. That's a double whammy in a relationship. And you're headed for a conflict for sure. So having healthy family relationships will rise and fall on the capacity that you and I have to listen better than we're doing today. Okay? So what is listening really? Some of us think, I heard you. That's not listening necessarily. That's half the battle. Okay? But it's giving the person I'm speaking with my undivided attention so I can hear and I can understand their thoughts better, their feelings better, their life perspective better, and their experiences better. That's what's going to happen. So how can we do that? Well, here's a couple things. Hey, you got to listen on purpose with a purpose. Listen on purpose with a purpose. Before any relationship can be healed, the two involved in the conflict or whatever it is you want to call it, they have to be heard. Okay? If you want to be healed, you have to be heard. That's one of the big things people want today in a relationship. It's really, really important because when we take time to really hear our spouse and kids, that's what they do. They feel loved. It's like you just came up and just put your arms around them and gave them a big bear hug. Just because you listened. It means the world to them. They feel accepted by you. They feel cared for by you. And your relationships will grow and your conflict will go down. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Many times, our family just wants that, to be heard. They don't want a lecture. They don't need a teaching moment. They just want to be heard. Now, to be a better listener, secondly, make eye contact. I tell people this all the time. They think it's weird, but by the grace of God, I've been speaking from over 20 years, so I've learned a thing or two. If you want to kind of have greater freedom, what you do is, when you're speaking, is you make eye contact. And I know with some people, it jars them. I'm preaching, I'm looking right in their eyes, right into their souls, and I'm saying, ha! You know, like, he spoke right to me. Yeah, I did. So I'm trying to make good eye contact. But in a relationship, that's huge. Now, listen. Don't make eye contact with people you do not want to have a good relationship with. Simple as that. If you don't really care about the person, you don't really want your relationships to get better, then when they're talking, don't look at them then. Keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. Or if they're weird, definitely don't make eye contact. It's like, I know he heard me. He gone. Smart enough now, I know what to do. No. But if you want a healthy, growing relationship or have good conversations, then do that, okay? What does it do? It lets people know that you have, or they have your full attention. Right? Are you listening, Dad? Yes, I'm listening. Well, I'm trying to do all these other things. But it shows you care and fulfills one of their greatest needs. To be heard. As I said, there's nothing more important and respected. So do that. Letter C, don't do anything else when you're listening. I know that's hard for you, multitaskers, and you got to get things done, you know. But if you do this haphazardly, or halfway, it's no good. No good. Like the field goal. Wide left. It's no good. You know. So multitasking is out. You know, I say I'm listening while I'm doing all these other things. Like what? Walking around, watching TV, surfing the internet. No, you're headed for conflict, trust me, if you don't give people your undivided attention. So if you can't do that, what should you do? Sometimes it isn't the right time. I mean, again, out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, my girls want to launch into their entire day at school. Hold on, you got about 5 or 6 minutes, so you got to hang in there or else, it ain't going to happen well. And just because they want to gauge, they're getting ready for bed or whatever, and it's like, look, you need to focus, honey. I want to listen to you, but right now isn't the best time, okay? Or I'm busy doing something. You might be busy. What do you do? So I really want to hear what you're saying, but right now it's not a good time. How about later? That's better than nothing, okay? But give them your attention. Here's another one to be a better listener. This might be you or me. Just stop talking. Okay? Close our mouths and open our eyes and ears. And again, you might be the opposite. You need to start talking because you're the person that does never talk. But I'm talking about the one that it's easy for you to have conversations, easy for you to dominate a conversation. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 10, in verse 19, the latter part, here's what it says. But he that refrains, again, his lips is wise. If you want that inside joke, you got to go to the growth group class, okay? It goes for her too, by the way. If you refrain your lips, that is, what do you think that means? Control them and shut them. Proverbs 17:28, even a fool, somebody who's not wise, When they hold their peace, guess what? They're counted wise. Well, that's a wise person. That's amazing. They kept their mouth shut. He that shuts his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Wow. That means you don't have to prove you're smart and wise by talking all the time. Sometimes when you don't say anything, you're the wisest person in the room. Our mouths get us into trouble. You say, not me. Okay, here's another verse, Proverbs 13:3. Again, he that keeps his mouth keeps his life. But he that opens his mouth wide, open as wide as lips, what happens? Shall have destruction. Wow, that is a powerful verse. If we can just keep the trap shut, man, we're going to go far. When we control our mouths, we're going to be wise and have better conversations. It beats the alternative, destruction. You don't want to destroy your relationship, so sometimes you just kind of keep it closed. James 1:19, we read it this morning in our growth group class. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every person, every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. What does that mean? This is one of my life verses I try to practice, and I teach my children, everyone I can, because it's really powerful. Be swift to hear, not swift to speak. Sometimes we're swift to speak. We need to listen. Swift to hear, stop and listen. And he builds on it. Be slow to speak. Think before you speak. Wow! Then, what does it say? You'll be slow to wrath. See? It's a sequence. You got to work at it. I got to work at it for better listening. E, listen for feelings and meaning, not just the words. Listen for feelings and meaning, not just the words. How many of you got literalists in your family? Everything you say, they hold you. You said that, especially kids when they want something. But Dad, you already said yes. You said yes to this. It's amazing how good they listen and when they want something. You know what I'm saying? But you said this, Dad. You said this, Mom. You know what? But guess what? I got some new information and I'm making a new decision right now. Oh. But this is what this verse says in Proverbs 14:15. This is a great verse that we all should soak in. Okay? It says, a prudent person, a prudent man looks well to their going. A simple person believes every word. They're not really planning. We're just kind of going along. But a prudent person looks well to their going. That means that they're watching what's happening. They're listening. They're aware of what's going on. They're more aware of the circumstances and what's being said around them. They're paying attention. Anybody ever tell that to you? Pay attention. Pay attention. If your neighbor's falling asleep, nudge him and say, pay attention. And paying attention while talking with somebody is critical. Because you can kind of see what's going on. Like this next one, F, watch body language. If you're watching the people's body language and their facial expressions, it'll help you have better conversations. I guarantee you. Why? Did you know that most communication is nonverbal? Some of you already knew that. You're well on your way. 80 to 90% of our communication to others, that is when we're expressing something good like love or frustration, anger, disappointment, or pride, is not going to be verbal. It's beginning all right here on your face, on your countenance, everything about you. That's why text messages and emails really are not the best forms of communication when you're trying to communicate like feelings and stuff like that. I mean, think about it, right? You're hitting those buttons, or you're speak texting. I don't even write anymore. Are you kidding me? I'm speak texting. So much easier. But, you might be angry. You might be happy. They can't see that. He said, but wait a minute. I sent an emoji. You ever send the wrong emoji? Oops. Oh, I didn't mean that. Watch the person's body language. Are they angry? Are they glad? Are they mad? Are they sad? Are they, some of you are like, I don't care, I'm not paying attention. That's why your relationship's in the tank. Are they excited? Are they frustrated? Are they nervous? Do they have a clenched fist? Start backing up. Going to get a knuckle sandwich, you know what I mean? One of these where you sneeze, right? A solemn look, maybe a tear. Are they going to blow? Listen, you could grow so much, and we can together in our conversations if we'll just do that. Being observant is going to help us understand what's being said when they're not saying anything at all. Whew, that's right. I just gave you the secret sauce right there. That leads us to the next one. Acknowledge what they're saying and feeling. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Boy, I blew this the other day. I thought I was on track, man. That's what I told the class this morning. I'm like, are you kidding me? After 22 years of marriage, 51 years of life, I'm thinking I'm rolling. I know a thing or two about communication, I thought, and then boom, it's like, she says something, and I didn't acknowledge it like right then. I said something else, circled back, acknowledged it, and I thought I was good. Nope. I got it out of sequence. Burned. This is hard to do, but it's important because you acknowledge what they're saying and feeling. It shows respect. It shows you honor the person. It shows that you were listening in the first place. You say, well, like what? You simply can say, some people are like, Now that's better than nothing, but you could take your to a phrase, okay? What did I say? Huh? You got the thing down. You can say, I understand. It's you. You just acknowledged everything. I see. It's another good one. I see. I don't understand, but I see. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a good one. They're sharing your frustration with you. They're not looking for a problem solver. I got 3 things that's going to help you right now to overcome that. No. All they were looking for is saying, you know what? Man, I'm sorry you feel that way. You just got some brownie points. Okay? Or how about, I get it. I get it. Anything's better than nothing. You don't say anything, you just trampled on their feelings. It was important to them. The next one, be sure to clarify the issue or disagreement even if you think you understand what's happening. Some of us are good at it, man. We understand. I got it. I get it. Yeah, okay. You don't do any kind of clarification, and guess what? You're way off. You're way off, and you go into one direction, and the other one's going in the other. You're not agreed. You're not walking together. Don't assume you know. Go ahead and clarify. You just simply say, hey, okay, it sounds like to me that you're upset. No kidding, genius. Sounds to me like you're disappointed. Oh, man, it sounds like to me you're hurt. Are you? Because I forgot to do this. I didn't do that. I said this, or whatever. Why clarify? Because more conflicts and problem communication could be over before it started. Simply, if you'll just clarify. Why? Because people get into it. There's friction. There's problems. There's these throwdowns. Why? Over something they misunderstood. Somebody said, remember, almost 90% or more of conflict happens because of misunderstanding. Not malice, not like intentional things. I don't try to stump my wife and get her upset at me and my kids. Why would I want to do that? Do I want more problems and more pressure than I already have? No. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But be sure to clarify sooner than later. Don't let the thing fester and build. Don't sweep it under the rug. It's a bad move. Why? Because it gives place for the devil, as we've learned. So clarify, and that's good listening, by the way. Here's another one. Are you guilty of this? Don't interrupt. Now, as I said this morning in our growth group class, some people can take it too far. They don't understand that a conversation goes 2 ways. They don't understand that just because, when you take a breath after 10 minutes, I say something, I'm not interrupting. I'm trying to get a word in edgewise. Because listen, I'm not a genius. I can't remember 10 minutes of what you just told me. Give the other person an opportunity to talk. That means don't interrupt. Why? Proverbs 18 in verse 13. Proverbs 18. What does it say? This is an awesome verse. Again, he that answers a matter before he hears it. It's great. No, it's folly and shame unto him. Again, our minds are going 100 miles an hour, men, a lot of times, and we already know what's going on. We solved the problem. Or ladies, too, the same thing can apply. And you start answering and trying to deal with it, and you haven't listened all the way because you interrupted. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be ashamed, and things are going to go badly. And you're going to have to, because you just didn't take just another minute, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to take another hour to deal with this problem now. And you might even have to table it. Like I said, now you have to deal with this frustration all day long. Research indicates that the average person listens for approximately only about 20 seconds, maybe less, before interrupting and sharing their own ideas. They butt in. Buttinsky. That's what we call them, Buttinsky. When we interrupt people, we're telling them something that's going to hurt our relationship. What are we saying? We're saying that what you have to say and how you feel is not important to me. What I have to say, how I feel, is more important. And I guarantee you, if that's how you're talking, like I said this morning about the airplane with the smoke, you better figure something out. The result is poor conversations and hurt and damaged relationships. But when we wait to talk and just listen, things go way better. Trust me. I love this verse, Psalm 66. Don't we love it? Verse 19, don't we love it because we love God? Don't we love God? Don't we love Jesus because he listens? Well, what does it say? It says, but verily God has heard me. He has attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be God, which has not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me. He heard. You ought to circle that word or that statement. He has heard me. Do we need and appreciate it when God listens to us? Yes. Then let's choose to listen to our spouse and kids. They need it, and so do we. The first thing we've got to do, develop listening ears. Number two, we've got to develop a wise mouth. I'm not talking about a wise, smart aleck mouth either, you know. Some people are really sarcastic. They can throw some zingers in there, you know what I'm saying? Proverbs 16:23 says, the heart of the wise teaches his mouth and adds learning to his lips. When we are talking, by the way, who is doing the talking in your home and family anyways? Remember, it's a two-way conversation. It requires listening, but also talking. It can't be a one-way street. It can't be a one-way street. Our time is almost fleeted, so I'm going to give these machine gun style. But the bottom line is some of us talk way too much or way too little. So you have to find out, where are you on the talk meter? Wherever we are, we can grow wiser than we are today. How? Here's a few ways. When we talk, speak life into your family. Or breathe life into your family. You know, the devil and everybody else who's wicked and sinful, like our sinful nature is, boy, it's a lot of times the opposite. Especially kids going to school. Man, I hear stories. I mean, you're in a Christian school, and things that the kids will say and do, and I'm sure they say and do things too, you know. Boy, today, I roasted this guy, you know, and whatever. I'm like, did they roast you? Yeah. Speak life. Proverbs 18, verse 21. What does the Bible tell us? Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. What we say has a powerful effect. It can kill or give life. What we say can kill a spirit, kill a dream, or it can breathe life and wind into the sails of a people in our family. Okay? B, bring healing to your family. Bring healing to your family. Again, people are hurt. There's damaged relationships. Every single person has hurt from when they were zero until now. Every single person. You got to bring healing somehow. Both of us. When we speak, we got a choice. Notice, one, our words can be like a sword. They can cut someone or they can cut someone up. Proverbs 12 and verse 18, there is that speaks like the piercings of a sword. Wow. Have you ever cut somebody or been cut by words? That's painful. If you ever poke somebody with a sword, guess what's going to happen? You're going to do damage, and they're going to get wounded, and our words have the power to do the same thing. You say in our homes? Yeah. When we just aimlessly and thoughtlessly say stuff and cut people down and hurt their feelings and make fun of them or lash out in some way, man, we can inflict serious hurt. That's why I'm glad for number 2. Our words are also like medicine. That's what you want to do. Our words are like medicine. Sure, there is that speaks like a sword, but the tongue of the wise, that's health. Remember, you want to be wise. How do you do that? You ask God for help, and you add wisdom to your mouth, learning to your lips. That's what the Bible says we are to ask God for, and you do your best. But our words can help and heal. And that's what a wise person knows, that they can make things better, like an attitude, like a hurt heart. They come home from school and they're downtrodden. What do you don't take time to listen, strike 1. If you lash out and you say something that's forceful, strike 2. You don't listen at all, you're out. You got to take time and try to encourage and bring healing and say something that will bring encouragement. And you can speak healing words simply like, I understand. I love you. Listen, I'm glad that you shared that with me. You can do it. God is with you. You're a champion. You're going to do well. You'll do better tomorrow. You're good at this. Smart, healing words can make a difference. Thirdly, speak the truth to your family. Speak the truth. When you're involved in conversations, the worst thing you and I can do, first of all, is not tell the truth. But secondly, deliver it in the wrong way. How many of you have done that before? You had to ask forgiveness because you told the truth, but you told the truth in the wrong way. I mean, you came off the top ropes and you gave a pile driver and you were right, but you weren't right. You know what I'm saying? You said it in the wrong way. But some spouses, they know that their spouse is not paying attention. They don't have the details. So guess what? They make stuff up. They embellish the truth. You said this and you did this last time, or a couple months ago, this is what you were doing. You're like, what? And before you know it, man, they're spinning around. Things are going south. You got to speak the truth in love, considering their feelings, and try not to exaggerate the truth either. If you look up in the dictionary, exaggerator, sometimes some of your family members are right there. They get an Academy Award for drama. Tell the truth. Fourthly, speak softly. Speak softly. And we're done. Speak softly. When you do decide to speak to your family and your relationships, I love what this verse tells us to do. Proverbs 15:1. Because we've tried it the other way, it doesn't work. Trust me. I have to be firm. I have to be strong. Yes, you do, but you need to be gentle also. Speak the truth in love, considering the other person's feelings, how they're going to take what you're about to shovel. What does it say? A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up strife. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge aright. That is, they know how to talk well, but the mouth of fools just pours out foolishness. They just say whatever. They don't think about it. They're not swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, and it's just making it worse. They're dropping bombs everywhere. Fires are igniting. You need to be, first of all, preventing fires, not just being able to put them out in a relationship. How do you do that? You have a soft answer. You wait. You listen. I mean, if you match the intensity in a conversation, what happens? Somebody's intense. Somebody's angry. Somebody's frustrated. You come right in. Everything goes up. Pressure, tension, everything gets worse. But when you were calm, when you smiled and said, it's okay. It's going to be all right. What happened? It changes everything. It's like you let out air in a balloon. And everything's better. That's how you're going to thrive. Listen, what is it in your family relationships that's causing you the most turmoil right now? Do you like that? Do you enjoy that feeling? What problems are caused by poor communication? We got to be willing to talk about it. You got to be willing to follow these guidelines. You got to be willing to walk together and be agreed so God can work in and through you and help you and your family thrive. Put these steps into practice. Let's pray.